Hey guys, it's Jesse Farr here from Bristle Up Hunting Supplies. Coming up, we're going to take an in-depth look at the Hikmicro Falcon series. We start off by comparing each model's image quality so you can see the quality at different distances. We discuss base magnification and choosing the right unit for the type of country you hunt. We then take a look at what's in the box, how to use the thermal, batteries and powering options, as well as a microphone quality test. Then we take a close look at an example remote mounted spotlight setup, not to mention tablet and screen options. No, that's not all. We go through all the different methods for mounting a thermal to your light as well. Then, moving on, we show you how the Hikmicro Sight app works. We demonstrate how to connect your thermal to Wi-Fi and discuss common issues. Lastly, we guide you through the menu options inside the thermal itself and what each option does. So yes, we have a lot to cover. Let's get into it. The standout in these units is that the entire series has a millikelvin of less than 20, which means even the cheaper low resolution models have exceptional image quality. As you can see here, I was pretty blown away by how good even the cheaper models performed. So what is the millikelvin rating? Basically, it determines how sensitive it is to changes in temperature. The lower the rating, the more accurate it can detect heat, and the better the image quality, particularly in tough conditions like high humidity, drizzle rain, and light fog. While doing this review, we compared the Falcon to some other units, and we were surprised to see just how big of a difference that drop in the millikelvin rating makes. However, a lot of other factors affect image quality as well, such as the image algorithm, the processor, and so on. Sadly, you can't really buy a thermal on specs alone, as I have seen in the past. You really need to compare it hands-on, or at the very least, like we're doing in this review, be able to see the actual image quality in real life. Hikmicro has historically had a very good image algorithm. Combining that with their latest tech has resulted in one of the best images in that price range this year, at least at the time of filming. We do the same test in all the reviews we do when comparing image quality. This way you can accurately compare and decide what's best for you. This test is on small dogs around the 15 to 25 kilo mark. So it's some of the smallest animals you're going to encounter in the bush, so a pretty good indication of how good the unit is. Larger animals like deer and pigs will look better, especially at a distance. We have these dogs situated ranging out to 300 meters. Let's talk briefly about choosing the right base mag for how you hunt and the type of country you hunt. To keep it simple, if you predominantly hunt open flat country like stubble, floodplains, or open flats like up in the Gulf, which is a higher base mag of between 2.5 to 3.5. An example of this is the FQ50 and the FH35. They have a narrower field of view, they are more zoomed in, they do have better image quality, and they do pick up heat at a further distance. Personally, I would avoid anything much higher than 3 though, especially if you're going to use it mounted on your roof. If you hunt a lot of hilly country, scrubby blocks, basically properties where there's lots of obstacles close to you, then you should go for a monocular with a wider field of view, which is a lower base mag of between 1.5 to 2.5, such as the FH25 or the FQ35. Now, base mag isn't the only indicator for this. It's one of the bigger influences of your field of view. In our image quality test here, we've gone out to 300 meters, which gives you quite a good indication of the image quality between the lower end models and the higher end models. They all perform quite well, but you can start to see a significant difference between the FQ50 and the FH25, for example. You will notice in this review I do talk a lot about remote mounting, And that's because our customer base in Australia, a lot of them are using these in a professional basis or even recreationally. The way we hunt in Australia, we use spotlights remotely mounted. So combining a spotlight with a thermal is like a dream come true for hunters. Gives you that extra distance, you can see things, and you can control it remotely. You've got the Wi-Fi going inside. So that's why I'm covering a lot of that in this review, because having stable Wi-Fi to an app on a good tablet is very important for these guys. If they're going to pay thousands of dollars, they want to make sure that it's going to work in that way. Having a good mounting bracket is also very important, and this one is pretty good. It's actually quite a nice deep hole on it as well. Gives it lots of leverage, which will be spread out over this entire bracket. Now the FQ50, which I've got mounted here, has a high base mag, but the image quality is spectacular, and it's really good for open flats and stubble country. It still works, but it's a bit harder to use in thicker country where you've got a lot of timber close by, like if you're through the mountains, stuff like that, cane, whatever. I do recommend getting maybe the FQ35 or a different thermal altogether, because you want a wide field of view when you're hunting difficult country. But if you're hunting open country, whether it be in the Gulf, whether it be down south on the stubble, or the flat open floodplains in the territory, anything like that, this is going to be one of the best thermals for you. It still gets the job done in other situations, but you'll be much better off with a wide field of view if you're hunting difficult country. All right, let's quickly take a look at what you actually get in the box. You get this cool carry case, zips up. It's a hard case, so it's quite strong. Now, I've already taken the thermal out. So this is our thermal here. Now, so you get your 2 batteries. You get a nice little carry bag that you can put your thermal in. Keep it protected if you're carrying it around. Right, then in our zipper here, we have a manual. I prefer to use the manual that you can get online. We'll include a link to that. We have a cleaning cloth. Now, keep in mind, this is not designed, in my opinion, and in my research, to be used on the actual thermal lens. It's designed for the front lens and the other parts of the device. You should clean your thermal lens using only cotton balls, compressed air, isopropyl alcohol 98% and more if possible. You can use down to a 60%, but you want to be careful because some of the diluted isopropyl alcohols have stuff in it that can be maybe leaves marks on the lens and stuff like that. So it is recommended to use 98% or higher. Now we also get a short little cord. If you need that, you can use it. Now, one thing to keep in mind, you cannot charge this thermal via this port. You have to take the battery out to charge it separately, okay? So it will not charge. You can power the device through this port from another power source, but you cannot charge this battery internally. Now, one thing that a lot of customers have done is they've thrown their box out and not realized that actually inside the box, in the wall of the box, is the charger. So if we pull this out, we actually have more stuff in the sides of the box. As you'll see here, we have a strap. And then on the other side here, this will be where our charger is for our battery. There it is there. So you'll use this cord. You can charge this in your car and charge the batteries in your car as well. These ones have been quite good so far, but I do like the Nightcore ones as well. At the bottom we have another strap. Now this will be your lanyard that'll go to the actual thermal itself. So that's it. Just don't throw your box out because there's other shit in there that you might not have realized. And that's pretty much it. So what's in the box? That's what's in the box. All right, let's take a look at button placement and how that all works. So at the front here, close to where your eye sits, we've got the zoom button. As you press this, it'll cycle through the zoom levels 1, 2, 4, 8 times, etc., and then it'll cycle back to 1 times. If you press and hold this button, it'll do a manual calibration. Now, if you've already got auto FFC turned on, you probably will never have to do this because it'll auto calibrate every so often. Now we have our color palette button. Now, if you press this once, it's going to cycle through the different color palettes. Now, if you press and hold this button, so it's going to bring up the menu, and then these buttons become arrow buttons, up and down buttons, once you have accessed the menu. So once the menu is open, so press and hold to open the menu, then use the down and up arrow buttons to navigate the menu and the menu options. And then to select a menu option, you just press this once, and that'll activate a menu option. Now, to close the menu back down, you press and hold this center button again, and that'll close down the menu. And this button will revert back to being the palette changing button. Now, as we move up here, we have our picture and record button. Now, if you just press this once, it'll take a picture, and if you press and hold it, it'll record. Now, at the end here, we have our power button. So to turn it on, you press and hold it, it'll turn on. And then once it's turned on, if you press it once, it'll go into standby mode. And if you want to turn it off, you press and hold it to turn the device off. Now at the front here, we've got our focus ring. So this is one of the very important parts of just about any thermal. Now you want to focus this in to the distance that you're going to be mostly using it. Otherwise you'll be constantly adjusting it. So if you are mounting it to your spotlight, I usually sight it in, as I say, to about 100 meters. So I'll look through it at about 100 meters, adjust it till it's clear, and then that'll be where I'll leave it for the night if I'm using it remotely. Now obviously the lens cap here, you just press this button and it opens. Now this is on the higher end ones. The lens cap on the lower end Falcons are just a rubber one. Now at the front here, this ring here is your eye focus. So this is for people with glasses, or if your eyes just things aren't clear for you. If you adjust this, this should clear the actual screen up for you and bring it into focus. Then obviously we have our battery compartment. And at the bottom, obviously we have our power port. This is where you can hardwire power it, or you can plug it into your computer to do a manual firmware update, or you can plug it into your computer and download the footage off it like a USB. Now, if you do recordings on this via the tablet, the recordings will actually be saved on the tablet and not on the thermal. So keep that in mind. If you press this button, the recordings will go to the thermal. But if you press record on your tablet, it's going to save it to the tablet itself. The Falcon series all have removable batteries using the common 18650 battery. The pros to this is you can get these batteries just about anywhere compared to units that have a proprietary battery that only the company that manufactures it makes. If that company stops making those batteries, there's basically nothing you can do. So that's always been a bonus with Hikmicro products. The downside is you usually don't get as high of a runtime as some units with those custom batteries, and you can't charge the batteries internally. You have to pull them out of your Hikmicro device and charge it with the supplied charger. The Falcon series comes with 2 batteries with a runtime of around 5 hours each when you use it by hand, and around 2 to 3 hours when you have it on Wi-Fi. I do find these night core batteries are better and more reliable, particularly if you're using it wirelessly to a tablet, mounting it on your roof or whatever. I do recommend these high capacity night core batteries. They do seem to work better. If you're not going to power it straight to your cigarette lighter or another power source on your vehicle, you might run a USB port from your battery directly to the back of your vehicle or something like that to power it. You might power it directly off your spotlight line, or another method is to actually connect it up to a battery bank that is zippy tied on your vehicle somewhere or situated somewhere. You know, those 20,000 night core ones, once again, night core do a good job. They can last, 15 to 20 hours on a device like this, and they're only about this big. So you can have one of them somewhere on your roof if you're lazy and don't want to run cables, and you can ensure that it has a good power strength for 15 to 20 hours. But if you're using these batteries, that's how it works. The Nightcore ones are the best. The Falcon series has a microphone so you can record audio. It's not that great, but maybe some users might find it useful. Let's take a listen now. Just doing a microphone test, an audio quality test on the Hikmicro Falcon. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Just doing a quiet little test. I'm talking much quieter to see if it sounds better or worse.
I'm just doing a very quiet whisper test on the Hikmicro Falcon. This is me whispering nice and quiet, pretending as though I'm trying to go undetected by an animal that I am looking at through the binocular. This is a quiet test as I sneak up on this imaginary animal and see if I can get close enough to shoot it in the head.
As for use by hand, it's a very ergonomical device. It fits in your hand nicely. It's got a nice comfortable eye relief on it. But there's not really much to say about the difference between the different models. They are very similar in shape, size, functions, everything like that. It really is going to come down to just the differences in the base magnification, the sensor size, and what the image quality is going to look like. Alright, I thought I'd give you a quick rundown on what I've done on our Hilux here. So we've got a Wall Game Innovations bracket, comes around the back here. We've got a 9-inch power beam. We've got the Smart Rest quick release attached to our thermal here. Makes it easy to get it on and off, and we can still access our charging port. Now the Wall Game Innovations bracket comes with a power supply inside it, but you do need to feed 12 volt to it from somewhere. And I do recommend running a new cable directly from your battery to it so that it powers the thermal all the time. If you just tap it into your spotlight power, then it's only going to power your thermal when your spotlight's turned on, which sort of defeats the purpose of having a thermal. As you can see, to remove the thermal, we just undo that and the thermal comes off. Now you might think that it's going to come off while you're driving around, but as long as you do this, it up tight and adjust it correctly with this bolt so it is tight when you do that. I've not had one come off yet, but as a backup, I do recommend putting a bit of fishing line leader or string from this to somewhere else on your roof, so if the thermal falls off, it's just going to sit on your roof. Now there's heaps of options of mounting your thermal. This is just one of them. The ram mounts are the best. These things, they'll last a long time. And I've had a lot of success with the ram mounts, but you definitely want a double suction one. Now I've extended mine out a little bit further so that it's a bit lower on the windscreen, especially in my other vehicle. So it's a pretty basic setup. They communicate wirelessly on a local network, so you don't need any cell service or anything. We'll open up the Hikmicro side app here, and as you'll see, we hit live view. And we're ready to rock and roll. That'll spin around, and there it is there. So I don't want to use that palette. I prefer the white hot, and there we go. So now let's just give the old thermal a spin. Now, if you're having Wi-Fi issues, you shouldn't have any lag, any noticeable lag with Wi-Fi if it's working correctly. So if you are, there's something wrong, and there's a lot of reasons for it. And it's usually different for each person. So if you are having issues, give us a ring and we'll try and figure out what's causing your Wi-Fi issues. But as you can see, I'm spinning this and there's virtually no lag at all. Alright, I'm in the back seat here, and I just wanted to be able to show you the tablet and the handle in the camera at the same time. You get your thermal set up, you hook it up on your bracket, you set your tablet up, connect it up to the app, and then you just go hunting and find heaps more animals. It's pretty much the way it goes, especially when things go smoothly. Now, I'm not going to say that things always go smoothly, but that's what we're here for, to support you. So if you buy a thermal off us, we're going to back it up with support. If it's urgent, we do offer after-hours service, so if you do call us at night, we will answer. particularly if you text us first and say, hey, look, I'm having trouble setting this thermal up, or something's gone wrong, can you give me a buzz and we'll give you a call back. All right, so on the table here, we've got a couple thermals set up, going to monitors and to a tablet. So this here Hikmicro Griffin has one cable that comes out and goes to this 10-inch monitor, and that supplies power and video signal, so it can be powered on all the time. You don't need to change batteries, and it sends the video signal to the monitor. So as you can see, it's connected to the monitor and the tablet at the same time, except the monitor is hardwired and the tablet is Wi-Fi. So as you can see, we've got our monitor here on the right and our tablet on the left. So the tablet is wireless, obviously, and our monitor is hardwired. So it's running at the same time on the same thermal. So we've got our spotlight handle here now. So as you'll see when I flick the light on and off, you'll see on the thermal image it makes no difference. So flicking it on, flicking it off. So that's why this sort of setup is so good, because it gives you the best of both worlds. You can use your spotlight and your thermal on and off throughout the night as you please and as needed. But you'll find once you've used a thermal, you won't go back to a spotlight. It's like thermal is just next level stuff. You can see for bloody a long way, identify animals a long way away. And just keep in mind, I'm recording this off a video camera, so the quality that you're seeing here now is nothing to what I'm actually seeing with my own eyes. But as you can see, I'm moving it around, so you look for heat, and that's the way it goes. So this is more of a how-to video than it is actually out hunting or showing you animals. It's just showing you how this setup actually works. I prefer the X-grip mounts. Now they've got two levers at the bottom here which separate the clamp from your tablet, so you can just pull the tablet out. So it's hard to do it with one hand, but I'll pull the tablet off and I'll show you the mechanism. So essentially you pull these two, and it'll separate and release your tablet. And once your tablet's in there, I've not had any issues with it coming out, and the double suction going to the windscreen is perfect. I do recommend paying the bit of extra money for the X-grip. I think it's a better, more universal unit, works better with a more array of tablets, and is a snug fit. Now, if you want to buy any of this stuff, we've got it all listed on the website. You can buy it individually or together, and there's many more options on the website. So you can choose the way you mount it to your windscreen, or whether you mount it in your buggy. You can buy a tablet from us if you want. You can choose many different ways of mounting it to your actual spotlight. You can get power banks, chargers, cables. We have monitor kits on there as well if you prefer to go hardwired to a monitor. And yes, the hardwired kits do work with Hikmicros as well. What else? We have lots of stuff on there. You'll have to go check it out, but you can choose the thermal, add everything you want, and Bob's your uncle. Now, once you get all the gear, if you need help setting it up, I'll even video call you and help you through it. Or you can give me a call even after hours if you're having issues. We'll take your call and help you out. We try and offer the best after sales service we possibly can. Jump on the website, give me a buzz, whatever you like to do. I look forward to chatting to you. There's quite a lot of ways that you can mount your thermal to your spotlight. Some are dearer than others, some work better than others. But in this case, one of the best solutions at the moment is a Wild Game Innovations bracket. They typically attach to the spotlight handle under your spotlight and then wrap around the back of the light, and your thermal sits on top. Now, in addition to needing the bracket, you also need a quick release on top. We use the Smart Rest ones. We prefer those, particularly for thermals that have the charging port on the bottom. The Smart Rest ones are still very stable and hold your thermal really well, but they're much smaller than some of the others available. If you mount it right, it won't block your charging port. Now, if you do have your charging port on the side of the thermal, then you can go a bigger, solider, quick release, like the ones that Wild Game Innovation sells. We have those as well. We have both options, so you can pick between the two. Another way you can mount your thermal to your light is one of the Smart Rest rim top mounts. Now the rim top mount creates a wedge and bolts to the rim of your spotlight. Now this works quite well on spotlights that have a reasonably thick rim on them, like the power beam ones, and they're very solid and stable, and they're a cheaper option of mounting your thermal on top of your light. Now another affordable option is the dual Smart Rest quick release. It is a piece of flat steel with a quick release on one end, so you can actually bolt it to your spotlight handle bolt underneath your light, and it'll sit out next to your light. Now you can cut it and adjust it to and drill holes to suit the size and diameter of your light. You do get a bit more vibration with that way, but it gets the job done and it's affordable. Now the absolute cheapskate option is to just buy the quick release itself and make your own bracket. Usually just getting a piece of flat steel yourself, like a piece of flat aluminium is my preference, and cut it to length and drill a hole in it on both ends to attach your quick release on one end and your spotlight bolt on the other. Now that pretty much covers it for any out-of-the-box solution. You could always try and come up with something yourself, but that's our recommendations. Let's take a look at the Hikmicro side app quickly. Up the top we've got our manual calibration. If we whack that, it'll do a calibration. Then we have our color palette changer. We just click on that and then you can select from the 4 different color palettes. So we've got white hot and then red hot. Now most people's favorite is white hot or black hot. So you'll find what you prefer. And then we have our zoom level down here. If we click that up, we can drag this slider to zoom in any times we want. So that's 2 times, and that's 4 times. Then we'll go back down to 1 times there. Now we can control our contrast and our brightness. So you just click on it and you've got a slider to adjust it to suit. I usually leave the brightness and the contrast on 5. In the top right hand corner, we can switch between taking photos or taking videos. So we tap that and the red record button will come up and we can hit that to do a recording. Now if you do recordings or photos, they'll be saved on the tablet and not on the thermal, so keep that in mind. Now if we go back to our main screen here, you'll see this is where your thermal will pop up. You can do a firmware upgrade, you can do quite a lot of stuff here, and you can go into media and see your recordings, and then you can save your recordings to the library on the iPad and then download it to a computer later or to your phone or whatever you want to do. So I've got another sneaky little tip for you. If you want to get the videos off your thermal onto your phone or tablet, you can actually do that through the app. So once you've connected to the thermal via Wi-Fi, if you click on album just there, now that'll give you the option up here. So device is the videos that are on your device, and local is videos that I've recorded on the phone or tablet. Now if this isn't showing for you, what you need to do is come down to the bottom here and click on me, and then once you're in me, you want to go to settings, and then in here there is a setting called save image and video to phone. Okay, so this will be the same on tablet. Now if this is turned on, you can turn it off and on. If that's turned on, it'll actually allow you to see the videos from your device in the album. From there you can open it up and you can download it, and that'll download it from your thermal to your phone. And when we go back, it will now be in our local area, the video will be. Now that this video will also appear in your device's photo album on the phone itself, so that you can post it on social media or whatever you would like to do with it. Let's talk about connecting your Hikmicro to a tablet or to a phone over Wi-Fi. Now let's be clear, you don't need an internet connection and you don't need any sort of cell service or anything. It's strictly a connection locally between the 2 devices, okay? Now one of the first things you want to do is you want to download the Hikmicro site app. So you want to go to your App Store on Apple or Play Store on Samsung devices, and you want to type in Hikmicro site, and you want to download the Hikmicro site app. Now, when you open up the Hikmicro app, you just want to agree to the terms and conditions and allow the app to access different parts of your phone. Now, you can log in and register your product, or you can just start now. And once we get the app open, you'll see here we need to go to our settings and enable it to save images to your device. This will allow it to access and save videos and so on. Now, once you've done that, we go back to the app and we're ready to start using it. For whatever reason, particularly on Apple products, you need to make sure you turn mobile data off either for the app on itself or just turn mobile data off for your entire phone. Now, the reason this is an issue is because the phone gets confused while you're connected to a Wi-Fi connection that doesn't have access to the internet. So it switches between your cellular data and your Wi-Fi, which causes issues transmitting video signal from your thermal to the device. Now, this is an issue across the board on all thermals and different brands. So if you're having issues, give this a go. We open up our settings app. We go to the mobile option here. Now, this will turn off all mobile data. And we go into there and we uncheck mobile data. Now, this will allow your phone to connect to the app properly. If you don't want to turn mobile data off completely for your entire phone, maybe you still want to browse the internet or whatever out in the paddock for whatever reason. So we'll turn mobile data back on and we'll turn it off just for the Hikmicro app. Find the Hikmicro app in the settings. And when we open it up, you'll see there it has the option to turn the mobile data off just for the app. So if you don't want to turn it off for your entire phone, just go into the Hikmicro site app settings here and turn mobile data off. So now when I open up the app, it's going to come up and ask you if you want to turn your mobile data back on for the app. But we don't want to do that. So now the app is asking to be able to connect to local networks. So that's like the Wi-Fi connection of the thermal. So yes, we will allow that. Now, before your thermal will show up on your tablet or your phone as a Wi-Fi connection, you need to go into the settings on your device and turn the Wi-Fi setting on. So what we want to do is we want to press and hold the center button on this Falcon to make the menu pop up on the side. Now, once the menu's popped up, we can scroll through using the arrow keys, which is the zoom button and the record button, and we can scroll through the menu. Now, we can see the network option there. Now, we want to turn that to hotspot. Now, if we press the center button, it will turn hotspot on. So now it'll be discoverable by your phone or tablet. So we'll go to our Wi-Fi here, and you'll see Hikmicro there. Okay. Now, the password for your Hikmicro is the last 9 digits of your serial number or the actual Wi-Fi name. So your serial number is right there, starting with the K, going through to the 6. So if you count 9 back from the 6, that will be the password. So our password will start with the K and go all the way through to the 6. So if we open this up, we can start typing that in. So it'll be 9 digits in total, and then we click join. Done. Once you've connected to the Wi-Fi of the thermal, it'll come up and say no internet available. Don't worry about that. That's normal. Now open up your Hikmicro site app, and it should automatically pick up that you're connected to it and show you a button with live view. Now, if that doesn't work straight away, try fully shutting down the Hikmicro site app and reloading the Hikmicro site app, and it should show then. And there you go, right there. So our live view has popped up. So now we can start using the app. It's connected up. So that's basically how it works. So you either want to turn mobile data off completely or just turn mobile data off for the Hikmicro site app to solve this problem. Keep in mind that if you turn the mobile data off for the Hikmicro site app, there's a chance that firmware updates might not be downloaded. So if you want to do a firmware update, it's probably a good idea to go back in and turn mobile data back on for the app before you try and do the firmware update. If you're having trouble connecting to the Wi-Fi of a Hikmicro thermal, it's a good idea to just turn the device off and back on again. Make sure mobile data is turned off, and then it should essentially connect straight up. The other thing you can do is you want to shut down the app. If it's the first time you're connecting, you want to shut down the app and reopen it again. So once you've connected to the Wi-Fi, you've turned mobile data off and you open if the app has been open while you've done that, it's unlikely to pick it up straight away. So you want to shut down the app and then reopen it. All right, that's pretty much it. So we're going to have a look at the menu options now. Now these menus are the same on all the Hikmicro thermals. The only thing that'll be different is if you have a thermal that has a rangefinder, you will also have an option to activate the rangefinder to get a distance. Let's press our center button there now, our palette button, to bring up the menu. Now some of these might be different on your device, but we'll use our arrow keys now, these two buttons here, to go up and down and scroll through our menu. So scene mode, that's just the different options that Hikmicro offers to display the image. So you can have a play with that and see what you like. Recognition is the best one for hunting, in my opinion. And then image calibration. Now, if you are having issues where it's not calibrating, it could be possible that you've turned this setting off, because you can change between manual FFC, external calibration, and auto FFC. You want to leave this on auto for most cases. 99% of people will want to leave that on auto. Now CVBS, that's for if you use one of our monitor kits. It'll allow video signal to go out of the thermal and go to a monitor using one of our Hikmicro monitor kits. We go down further, dead pixel. This is DPC. So if you have any dead pixels show up on your thermal, you can repair them using this setting. You essentially just go in there and you navigate, you put your little crosshair on the dead pixel, and then you repair it. Now when you go into a menu like this, to get back out of it, you press and hold the palette button again. So that'll actually exit you out of the menu that you've entered. Now going down again, we've got auto power off. Now basically this will just set options to whether the device will turn itself off after a period of time. Now units, that's just whether it's going to show things in meters or yards. That's not really going to matter to anyone unless they've got a rangefinder on the unit or doing some sort of measurement. Now burn prevention. Burn prevention, you want to have that on, in my opinion. Then version. Now if you ever need to see what version your device is in case there's issues with it, you can come in here and you'll see the version and build numbers there. Restore, that'll just restore the device back to default. It's a good idea to do this after you do any sort of firmware updates, or if you're having issues with the device. The first thing you should try is restoring it back to default and turning the device on and off again. Language, that's just change your language. Logo, if you want to have the Hikmicro logo show up down the bottom. Time sync, so that's just whether you want it to be in 24-hour time or you want to manually set the time yourself, or it'll automatically set it. Now OSD, that's just the stuff that displays on your screen your recordings. So if these are turned on, all the information that you see on the screen itself, these is how you turn it on and off. Now measurement, I'm going to be honest, I haven't used this before, so I'm not going to run you through what that does. I'll have to have a look in the menu. Alright, so audio, if the thermal has an internal microphone, this will allow you to turn it on. Now if you want to activate any of these, you just press the middle button to turn it on and off like that. Hot tracking will just show a crosshair on the hottest part of what you're looking at. I don't find it very useful, it annoys me. Now we have our Wi-Fi settings here. Obviously hotspot is turned on, close is turned off. And then we move down to contrast. You can play with that. I just leave it on 5. I played with it a bit, but I still find 5 to be the best. Same with the brightness. Then we move on down. Image Pro is just Hikmicro's attempt at making a a more advanced, I guess their version of what they think is a better image. So if you go Image Pro, it'll adjust the image using the algorithm to make it look better. That's the idea of it anyway, but I prefer the standard image. Now we're back to scene recognition and back through. So that's pretty much it. That's it for the monoculars. Not much to the menu, pretty straightforward to use. Now let's shut it down. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you want to see a ton more full-length epic episodes, consider downloading the UHunt app on your smartphone or your smart TV. That's right, we have TV apps as well. It's just like YouTube, but for hunters. You'll be able to kick back with a cold one and enjoy some of Australia's best hunting content. Not to mention, UHunt is also a social network made just for hunters. So you can share your own videos and photos as well. If you're into hunting, you're gonna love it. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and also hit that notification icon so you don't miss out on more cool videos.